Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Rockwood, and I am currently living and working in Austin, Texas. I was teaching, doing one on one behavior and academic intervention around the school district. So I was a traveling teacher for elementary students, pre K through 2 specifically. It was teaching a lot of like social emotional skills and um, yeah, and that. But as of last year, or last academic year, my department has collapsed, and so I am now going to be teaching a special education resource at one of my favorite elementary schools in the district, and I'm super excited to begin this new journey. And I'm also really excited to be a part of a new group and get to know some new people. So that's a little bit about me. Regarding the ethical dilemmas, the scenarios, the first one that I chose was number one. Mr. Thomas, the principal of Ferris Lake Elementary, believes it is important for all children to be fit and trim, to be healthy, and to have good eating habits. He tells Wanda, the school counselor, that he has identified 5 children in the first grade, and that he wants her to work with them, find out what is causing their obesity, and fix it. Wanda asks about parent consent, and Mr. Thomas points out that the district handbook given to all parents indicate that students can be pulled out to address specific concerns as needed. This struck a nerve in me so hard. I think it's a little bit demeaning and rude to, this is my own personal opinion here, to identify somebody for being obese and tell you to fix it. Like, as a counselor, that just sounds, as a human, that just sounds, I don't know, messed up. Anyways, regarding the ethical dilemma, the first one, the obvious one, is the parent consent. It's our obligation to have consent from parents. It's law. It's a legal document that needs to be signed. So that would be the first thing that needs to happen. The second thing I'm a little bit unsure of, but it was the social justice morality. Ethical ethic, yeah. We don't know the systems around the child, and we don't know their family's socioeconomic status and what they can and can't afford to eat necessarily. I know that it's a whole lot more expensive to go to the grocery store and buy healthy options than it is to go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal for your kid. Not just money, but time that it takes to put it into cooking and that kind of stuff at home. We don't have control over what happens at home and what those parents can do, and I'm not trying to control that. I think we could inform and educate both the students and the parents, but there's no way that we can fix that problem in that sense. The principle that I identified here was the non-maleficence and doing no harm. I think identifying and singling out 5 students like that for being obese would do harm, right? It would, I imagine, create a lot of issues around self-esteem and self-confidence with these kiddos. It would feel a little bit embarrassing to be pulled out because I was obese. This has nothing to do with an academic or behavior issue that is affecting the child in school or their academic growth or behavior growth. So that was that. And my suggestions would be, first and foremost, to start out with just classroom guidance sessions. It can be classroom-wide, it can be school-wide, grade level-wide, but just guidance sessions around informing and educating the students about healthy choices or healthy lifestyles. So you can do eating habits, you can do physical activity, different stuff like that. And in my school district right now, we do like workout Wednesdays where everyone in the district, for the most part, it might not be Wednesday, but where I am, it's Wednesdays, where everyone will dress in like their sneakers and their workout stuff, teachers and administration included, and everyone will partake in a morning assembly with like Go Noodle physical activity, and then they'll walk around the track in the afternoon, walk or run, depending on what people want. So I think implementing something like that would be helpful and beneficial and would create more success probably than singling out the kids. And then I think, I don't know exactly, but to go from there, if there still continued to be an issue, anytime you do individual counseling, obviously getting the parent consent would be necessary. And so having that done. The next ethical dilemma that I chose was number 6. Carrie J., school counselor, has developed expertise in eating disorders and has successfully counseled a number of students on a one-to-one basis. She became interested in providing a counseling group for students with eating disorders and attended a one-day workshop on using group counseling methods with anorexic and bulimic teens. She is now using this group counseling technique within her schools. I think this is great. I think she's done the work as far as going to the workshop and having that she's done the one-to-one sessions. I think the dilemma here is 2 dilemmas. The first one would be the competence. Like, although she's done the workshop, she hasn't had supervised sessions yet where she can kind of get feedback and have that support there to kind of guide her through the session. And then the other thing would be, it didn't mention anything about consent, but she would also need to get consent from the parents regarding that. And then the principals here, I guess it kind of align with the non-maleficence also. If she hasn't had supervised training yet, or like supervised sessions with that, she doesn't know how the interactions could maybe potentially put the kids at risk for any issues that come up within the session, how they're going to interact with each other. You don't know how your peers are going to interact with knowing about your anorexia or bulimia. So just having those supervised sessions beforehand, before she conducts those sessions independently, is what I would suggest regarding that issue. And then the last one that I chose was number 8. And this one, I chose this because I don't entirely know, and I'm not exactly sure of how I would handle the situation, and I would like feedback. Mostly because I went through something similar to this in some capacity, but it's number 8. A 15-year-old male is experiencing confusion about his sexual orientation and wants to see you for counseling on the condition that his parents are not notified that he is being seen for counseling, since if they knew he was being seen, they would want to know why. The ethical dilemmas here are consent and confidentiality. Obviously, what you have to say, your sessions with the student would be confidential, and you would not let anyone know. But then on the other hand, you have consent, where parent consent is required, and it's by law. And so it's like, how do I find that balance with the student, and how do we work around that? The principle here I would go with would be autonomy. He has the freedom to choose. He has the freedom to choose whether or not he wants to move forward with it or not. And the suggestions are where I kind of am a little stuck. I would think that, informing him about the confidentiality aspect and also informing him about the consent aspect. It's where can we bridge that gap to where he would be willing to inform his parents that he was seeking counseling for something. I'm not entirely sure what goes into that when you get consent from parents. Do you have to say specifically what is needed or what they're seeking counseling for? I think I would probably talk to him about what he would be willing to tell his parents if he were to seek counseling services. If he were to go through with it, what he would want them to know. Maybe it could be something on a broader spectrum as just social developmental confusion. I'm a little bit unsure, but that's one that I'm pretty interested in because, I think it hits home for me a little bit. So that's what I have for that. If you have any suggestions, I would love, love, love to hear them. And I look forward to working with you all throughout this semester. Have a good one. Bye.